Welcome back.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Today in the morning, not in the evening. Today different.
Oh yes, we are recording
With
for the
daylight,
first time.
some daylight.
Yeah. Good. So we start with a new chapter today. The days of my youth. But the days of your youth.
Well, but that was yesterday.
Feels like yesterday?
It feels like yesterday.
Okay, wonderful. So we
So
hear
start.
about your yesterday.
Yes.
The days of my youth. Due to our family's financial situation, my mother and Uncle Hu decided to move to Einbeck, a small town about 20 miles away from our country life. My mother had found a job there and the daily commute to work was becoming too difficult for her. I learned things from Uncle Hu that hardly anyone else could have taught me. A medium-sized black dog lived with us in the country. Blackie was older and had grown up with us. But in our new home in Einbeck, we were not allowed to keep a dog. Uncle Hu would never have allowed this dear animal to be locked up in an animal shelter to spend his final days there. He left the house with a sawn-off rifle, and soon we heard the shot. Uncle Hu returned to the house with tears streaming down his face. That would have been...
Yes. That's what a compassionate person can do. Maybe he did it wrong. Maybe the dog would have found another owner or whatever. Yeah, nobody said, no, I don't want him. If not, I don't want him to spend his days in a cage. No, he was so long a companion of our family, so no. So that is to be consistent, consequent with what you are thinking, you think that, and you do it. You don't doubt about that. No, and maybe he would have come in and everyone would have gone against him, saying, what have you done with our dog? I don't remember what happened. I think everyone was silent because we saw him crying, and that was it. And then I suppose he buried the dog. And I appreciate that. To be, for me, a real human being, not to talk, to do the things. Okay, you go.
I started to go to high school in Einbeck. Because of the non-stop school changes, I never knew how to have a friend for a long time. There are no friends from my childhood. On the other hand, I had learned to make new friends quickly, be it at school or on the street. Of the teachers, I liked best those who had a strong character, were fair, and in whose well-defined behavior one could see the respect and affection they had for their students. I remember having a teacher like that in primary school. She was wonderful. We were known as the class that was not easy to control or to manage. And class teacher changed. And then we had one, she was fantastic. She was strict, but we knew exactly what was okay and what wasn't. That gave us a lot of, we had the freedom to do what we wanted to do, but at the same time we knew, what the real limits are.
Yeah, strict and loving.
And it helped to learn, which is, I suppose, the purpose of school.
Could be. I go a moment to switch on the music again, no? It happened as we thought before. It should happen.
Yes.
It happened. So you go on the leading.
Okay. Those, we're talking about teachers, who were used to lying or showing weakness had a hard time with me. I remember a physics teacher hitting one of my friends in front of the entire class. All students remained seated in their chairs in front of the tables, their heads bowed. Everyone but me. I stood up and shouted to the teacher, "Who do you think you are? If you want to get into a fight with someone, here I am. Come over to me."
Well, I did not like to fight with no one.
Yeah, we said that
I
in
was
the previous
feeling that,
chapter.
no? But
yeah.
no, I couldn't. It came out like that, and I said, "Come here if you want something."
This teacher, Mr. Schulz, turned completely red and shouted, "You're both coming with me. We will present this case to the director immediately." I agreed to this, and Mr. Schulz, my friend and I went down the stairs to the director's office. The moment I tried to open the door, the teacher looked at me and apologized. He promised never to act like that in his class again. The door remained closed. The director never found out about the incidents, and the matter was forgotten. What does it tell us? We need to stand up for what we believe in when something is not right.
No, don't try to be a peaceful person if you are not able to stand up when they send you or they try to send you to a war, and then you say, okay, no, shoot me down. I will not do that. Stand up for what you believe, not talking blah, 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 blah. No, you have to be able to do it. If not, it's not worth it. Just a philosophy, an intellectual idea. And you say, oh, I'm so wonderful and I'm so peaceful and I arrange this planet and blah, blah, blah. No, no, no. Go and do it.
Go and do it. Yeah.
No, and you or me as a maybe 15 or 16 years old boy gave a lesson to that man without wanting to give the lesson. It just happened like that. But maybe or hopefully this man never did that again. He said, no, that he apologized. He said, or maybe he felt it was not right what I did. No?
Yeah.
I should have done it. He was a person getting nervous easily. He could not handle easily the class no, but he just stepped over the limit, and I said, no, you will not do that.
Perhaps he wasn't meant to be a teacher.
Maybe, that happens often. It was not his purpose or mission in life.
Yeah.
And parents or society told him, oh, that's a good job and you have a lot or enough money and a lot of holidays, and but he was not meant to be that person.
Yeah. There was another teacher who made a much better impression on me, Mr. Görlitz. When he entered the classroom for the first time, he introduced himself. Good morning, my name is Mr. Görlitz. Just as your relationship is with me, so will be my relationship with you. The matter was clear, and everyone treated this teacher with the necessary respect. And another teacher, who was later appointed director of the high school, deserved all my respect. That was Mr. Vogel, Dr. Vogel. He received me and my friend Heinz when we returned from a not exactly successful scooter trip to Paris in the middle of winter. My friend had frozen all his toes during our first night in a barn. We had only driven 200 kilometers in the freezing cold, and after spending the night in the barn, we had decided that we would rather return to Mother's house for the warmth of school and something to eat.
For the warmth of Mother house,
yes.
To school and for something to eat.
Dale. Since we had left school, our home and the city without a message, the director of the high school felt compelled to notify the police, and so they started looking for us. On our return trip, we spent 2 more days in the small house in the countryside where I once lived. Now my brother-in-law, Kurt, often used this house to spend his weekends there. Dr. Vogel was waiting for us at the entrance gate to the schoolyard. He greeted us warmly and told us that he was happy to see us safe and sound again. And he gave us advice for our future lives. Something very important in life is to stand out, no matter whether positive or less positive. Your teachers and classmates need to notice you. Never get lost in the crowd. We certainly weren't good students, but it was easy for us to stand out. We took it so far that some teachers gave us permission to leave the classroom in the middle of class without having to ask. They were content with us not disturbing the class. Of course, this slowly but surely led to my grades in high school falling to 0. The relationship between me and my mother and Uncle Hu slowly became more difficult as I was no longer a child but a teenager going through puberty. To avoid major problems, I suggested sending myself to boarding school, and therefore, if possible, to be able to attend middle school, since high school was apparently too complicated for me.
For me or for the teachers?
That's the question.
Oh, Lena, the music stops again.
So we switch it on again?
Yes.
Yes.
You go on reading.
Okay. A small boarding school in the health resort of St. Peter-Ording at the North Sea. We students lived there in a normal brick house right behind the dike. A young, energetic and strong man was our educator. We walked from the house to the nearby middle school every day during the week. At the time I was wearing skin-tight trousers, long boots and a World War I Wehrmacht jacket that I had bought at a flea market. The old original badges were still on the sleeves of this jacket. It just drove my class teacher crazy to see me in that outfit. "Do you have the slightest idea what these badges mean?" he asked me. "No idea," was my prompt answer. "And if that means League of Young Homosexuals from Lisbon?" he tried to tease me. "I don't care at all. I have nothing against homosexuals or Lisbon. I like the jacket." Always the rebel.
You have to stand out.
You have to stand out. Dr. Vogel said so.
He said I was very obedient.
In the 3-person room where I lived, one of the classmates was bisexual and I admired him for his good looks and exquisite manners.
And his very educated and beautiful mother. She came sometimes to visit. And I admired both of them. I looked at them and said, wow, what kind of wonderful, good-looking, beautiful people.
One of our comrades earned a little money by looking for amber on the beach and then selling it to a jewelry dealer in the small town. Every now and then I accompanied him over the dike, down to the beach early in the morning. People looked for amber when the tide was out. As soon as the water had receded and the sand of the beach was full of small, wave-like grooves, the search began. A black substance had settled in the grooves. This mass looked like tiny particles of charcoal, and on top of this charcoal lay the small or occasionally slightly larger raw amber clearly visible. As my friend explained to me, the ambers were a little lighter than the charcoal. What does that mean? The ambers were a little... okay, that's why they're sitting on top.
Like ripples, no? And the water came, bringing the charcoal, or whatever that was. It was settling down, and if the amber was a little bit lighter, it would settle down on top of the black background, and you could see or find easily.
Yeah. My grandma used to peel, teeny weeny little shrimp, and once in a while, because they have it with long nets, they take it from the ground of the sea, right?
Amber.
Yeah, once in a while, and I got them, and I had a piece of jewelry made from it as well. Yeah.
So you liked it?
I liked it. Yes. Yeah, and it's just beautiful that how it gets created, and then how you find these little jewels somewhere on the beach, or in the middle of a basket of little shrimp that have to be peeled. To observe. No? On a trip to the island of Helgoland in force 10 winds, the ship rocked so much that practically all of the travelers vomited. Young sailors were constantly running up and down the ship, handing out plastic bags to travelers.
Look, people were standing there, how you call it, the railing?
Yes.
Standing there was a lot of wind. They were vomiting, and the vomits, they would flow into the face of the next person. It was a nightmare. The whole ship smelled of vomit. I mean, if you would not vomit because of the movement of the ship, you would vomit because of what you see in the smell. No?
At the sight of all these seasick people and the rocking, I ended up feeling sick too. I stopped one of the sailors and asked him to give me a bag. He looked me straight in the eyes and said, somewhat sternly and harshly, "No, there is no plastic bag for you. You won't throw up." And so it happened. From that day on, I never felt seasick again.
That's hypnosis.
Yeah.
He had the ability, and I maybe was open for that, and he very harshly he said, "No, you will not throw up, you don't need a bag." And it was gone.
And it settled in your subconscious mind. You're like, okay. We can do this for you.
Don't freak out. We don't have to throw up. We can do that.
Here on the North Sea, I rediscovered my love for the church. But not in the way most of my fellow human beings would have liked. Because that is what it says here. Love. But not in the way most of my fellow human beings would have liked. I can still remember the day of my confirmation well. Dressed in my confirmation suit and new shoes, I waited outside our car to take my family to church in the nearby village. I'm doing this solely for you. I don't want to spoil your celebration. I wouldn't go to church because of me, were my words. So you were doing it for...
I was never against the church. I always loved the preacher. We had a preacher going to the high school, and often I came back with him in the car, and I enjoyed a lot that company of that man. But the whole this process, this whole organization, that was not for me. No, but there was never a react to, or you call it, to react against it.
Yeah.
No. I just wouldn't go. It was not for me. But I appreciate these people who were doing their job, no?
You hear the marimba?
Who's playing that?
We got another new instrument.
We are buying instrument for Lena, because Lena only knew how to play a triangle at school. Ping every 10 minutes to make one ping. She was not allowed to do anything else.
Yes.
And now we just put an instrument and said play. And suddenly she can do. And it's nice, in the rhythm, and it sounds nice.
And you keep on telling me, or specifically in the beginning, to say, well, don't try to learn it. Just do.
No, just do.
Just do and see what comes out.
What comes out. And it will do perfectly. It sounds nice, it's wonderful. Now with the didgeridoo we bought for you might be a little bit more complicated.
Maybe someone else will play that.
Maybe someone else will play that. Okay.
Yes. But here in the far north, my friends and I had found a good reason to visit church every now and then. The first time it was simply the interest of seeing this building from the inside. To our surprise, we found a bottle of red wine, sweet wine from Malaga, behind the altar. We took the bottle with us, and from then on we visited the church from time to time. No one ever complained about the lack of wine, and the only alcohol I drink these days is sweet Malaga.
Well, you see what they tell you in the church is they give you this oblate, how you call that? This white thing, like piece of paper, and say, this is the body of Christ, and you drink a little bit of wine, and this is the blood of Christ. No? In our days, only the preacher would drink the wine. But then it was, you were standing there, and they would give that to you. So yeah, I fell in love with the blood of Christ.
However, I can afford to buy the wine today.
Yeah, thank God.
Although my place of residence is not Lisbon, Granada is not too far, and the gemstone that I like the most is amber. So all of it is coming together in some way.
It's like a conditioning. You live something, you experience something, and that is forming your life. No? It's written here, and then you act upon that. But try always to live or to remember whatever happened in your life in a loving way. Always say it was part of a school. It was, even if it's not so positive, no, it was part of what brought you to the present moment.
Yes.
No, then look back and say, well, that was not easy, but it was useful. It brought me here. And you're sitting here, you're still alive, you're breathing, and life is more or less okay, so then be grateful for that. No, don't reject any part of your past. No, it could be my past was never terrifying or very complicated. It was maybe not the past a person could hope for. It was not like your past. Your past was a very caretaking family, and you were very much protected, and they allowed you to act as how you wanted and give you your freedom. For me, they gave me the freedom, but no one was taking care of me. No, I could complain about that. I said, oh, I never had this love of the mother. And
I had to go smell the fur
so
coat.
the fur coat. And, yeah, but all that did something to me. And I'm quite okay with who I am today. And I am who I am because of what had happened in my life, or my DNA, or forefathers, or whatever. All that built me up, constructed this person who is sitting here.
Yes.
You know this famous, what we saw, the Tony Robbins, who's helping a lot of people, and he said, I am only who I am because my mother mistreated me. And of course, in that moment, it was not fun, it was not nice. I would not say, oh, wow, yeah, thank you, mommy, you are mistreating me.
But it pushed him.
But it pushed me to where I am today. And he's not remembering that in a bad way. He's remembering that, and tears are coming to his eyes, and he said, well, thank you, mommy.
Yeah.
Because you did what you could do. No one here can do anything else than what they can do. Maybe there's never a really bad intention behind it. There might be some people who act upon a bad intention, but it's not normal. The normal thing is that your parents or whoever, they do what they can do. They cannot do anything else.
Yeah,
So
we have
you do not even have to forgive them. No. As you are walking your shoes and you don't do everything right. There are certain things maybe you shouldn't. I shouldn't have shut down the little birds. Yeah, but I did, and maybe that produced something in me that I don't have to do it today.
It comes out in hypnosis sessions often that we do with our retreat guests or other guests, right? That they are seeing a situation of their past from a different perspective, and they're like, oh, okay, now I feel like I can accept that what my mom, my dad, whoever it was, couldn't do anything else. They did the best that they could in the situation that they were in.
It's like our little music instrument. It cannot.
Today
it stops after each song. It stops, and I have to stand up and go there. Yeah,
perhaps someone is of the opinion that it would be good for you to get up and sit down.
Maybe
I
should make some exercises. Well, you go on.
Many of our guests are gay men or women, and to this day it is a pleasure for me to have a good conversation with them. It seems as if our younger years largely shape us. I only spent 6 months at boarding school. I then returned to Einbeck to finish my middle school years here for the last 6 months. I don't know if it comes up here, but the other day you told me why.
What?
That you only spent 6 months at the boarding school because your friend, was it Joseph?
Yes,
wanted
because
to join you.
my friend who was the son of a preacher. Well, of course, we always liked church, and he was the son of a preacher. And as we liked church so much, well, we were playing music there. He was playing, because it was Protestant church, so there was music. I was playing the guitar, he was playing the drums, and at the end of the mass, then they were collecting the money, and we from time to time went to where all the money was stored and would take some of the money, quite a lot of money. So what was the question? I just remember that.
That you only spent 6 months at the boarding school.
So then I decided with my friend, I said, look, talk to your father to send you here to the same school.
Yeah.
And he succeeded. And when he succeeded, then the idea came to my mind, no, if you spend it, I had to spend half a year to get my grade from the school. I said, if he will come here, I will never get that grade.
Because
we
you
will
just
do
would
a
be
lot
too
of stupid
distracted.
things here, and it will not happen. So then I came back to Einbeck, to the town, and he went there. That's why I only spent half a year there.
To earn some money, I distributed newspapers on my bike very early in the morning. Later, I got a job for a few hours in the evening at the local newspaper. During this time, one of my friends and I had made a new plan. Once again, we wanted to go to Africa. In my previous book, I described my failed attempt to emigrate to Africa in my mother's car, aged 16, with no money or passport. A journey that was doomed from the start. Is it what you say? Just do. No? You don't have money, you don't have a passport, you have stolen your mom's car.
No, I took my passport, but no money. And that guy, I don't remember his name right now, we agreed, you come at 2 o'clock in the morning with the car of your father and then we go. And I was sitting there waiting and he came walking. I said, so what happened? He said, yeah, look, I went to the garage to take the car out and my father suddenly was standing behind the car. And he said, I had not the courage to run over my father. So he put the car back, or he left it in the garage and he came walking and then we take we had 2 cars and we took my mother's car. And then driving on the highway and we had no more gasoline and he was driving a while, I was driving a while. He always was stealing cars in the village, in the town, every night. And you could see in the morning on the newspaper, there was an article. Someone stole this car and he was always taking the car because he loved to drive. Taking the car, he never stole anything from the car. He would put the car back where he took it, only the tank was empty. And every morning there was this article about him, and I had a big frame on my wall with all the articles. And he said, are you stupid? I mean, your mother will become aware that that is someone you know. Yeah, so we had no money to buy gasoline. We stopped at a gasoline station and we filled the tank, and then we became aware, oh, we have no money. And he had not even taken his passport. And so no what? And we offered to the owner of the guy who was working there our radio. Okay, okay, I agree. And he took the radio and we had again a full tank.
To drive back?
No, to drive further on.
Further on?
No, further on, because he had the idea, I have an uncle who's living in Frankfurt or somewhere there. So we go to visit my uncle, and then we tell him that we are coming back from our journey and we are missing money to go back home. So if you can give us some money, that was the plan. And I remember we were stopping to think, how can we get some money? And it was in the middle of the night in a village. And he said to me, you see that woman there walking with her hand bag? And I will go very slowly next to her and you grab the bag. And maybe she has some money in the bag. And I said, no, that's too much. I will not do that. So we stopped at the house of his uncle. And the uncle, oh yeah, how are you? Peter was his name. Peter, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. And in one moment, telephone was ringing, he went out and he came back and said, so you are on your journey back from the south of Germany or wherever? And yeah, we are. He said, your father just phoned here and told me that you escaped from home, so I will not give you any money. And I mean, you are free, you do whatever you want, but I will not give you any money. And then they called Uncle Hu and my brother-in-law, and they came with another car to pick us up. That was the end of that journey.
And coincidentally the end of that song, of that track.
Oh. Now you go on reading? A little bit. Read something, because I'm talking and talking. And
yes. This time we had a different plan. My friend was supposed to take the train to Naples, Italy, and then hitchhike to Sicily. The plan there was for him to make some friends with whom he could live for a while and try to get used to the new surroundings and different life. Meanwhile, it was my job to earn more money with my newspaper job and then follow my friend and cross over to Tunisia together. My friend came as far as Bari in the south of Italy. After 3 weeks and a money transfer, he returned to Einbeck, bored. Another failed attempt to start a new, better life. A new intention to earn some money led me to urban gardening. Working in the fresh air seemed like the right thing for a teenager. I was tasked with cleaning the graves in the city cemetery. This meant mainly pruning the ivy that had grown over the edge of the graves. That was a summer job, but after a few weeks I discovered that physical work wasn't my forte.
And then I was so stupid to come to Spain, buy a big ground, pretending to be a farmer. I should have learned that there, and that's not for me.
Sometimes we have to do things more than once. Since Uncle Hu knew of a shipbuilding yard in northern Germany, he was invited to the launch of a newly constructed ship there. My mother and I accompanied him. After the ship was launched, including a bottle of champagne hanging on a long line that was thrown against the bow and shattered, we were invited to dinner by the shipyard owners. The conversation turned to the young man, me, what my plans were for the future. I was offered to start an apprenticeship at the shipyard in order to later become part of a ship's crew. How long does it take to become a captain, was my question. Do you have a high school diploma? I was asked. I had to deny it and admit that I had only gotten to secondary school. The answer was that it was impossible to become a captain without a high school diploma, and so I wasn't interested in this apprenticeship.
Yeah, because as the teacher said to my mother, you know that your son is like Adolf Hitler. So, but I become the first one, or no. Forget
Captain
about
or
it.
nothing?
Captain or nothing.
No.
He said you can become the first
Mate or something they call it.
no, that yes, but never the captain. I said, forget about it.
Yeah.
I will not do that. I'm the boss or nothing.
So we finished a chapter. It was relatively short, and so maybe we stop here today as well. What do you think?
It would be nice because I don't have to stand up any longer to put the music in. That could be a good idea.
Could be a good idea, yes.
Yes.
One thing I'd maybe like you to talk about are these beautiful flowers. These beautiful flowers there. Where do they come from? These ones are not from our garden.
So tell them where they come from.
Well, there's a lady here in the village. Her name is Maria. Maria doesn't have a lot.
She has nothing, taking care of a lot of animals,
She takes care of some 20 cats.
children who are stealing the little money she can get from somewhere. But she's a different person.
Yes.
And she's old, a little bit disabled, she cannot walk, and we are living here nearly on top of the hill in the village. So she is going in the village since years. When it's the time of the roses, she steals the roses from some garden and then comes up to bring the roses to us, and we always give her a little bit of money.
Yes. And when it's not the time for roses, but
She
maybe
comes with
figs, she comes with figs,
or walnuts,
whatever the
or
season is.
whatever she can find.
But look at that. She really does not have anything or not enough for herself to survive. Then she takes care of some 20 cats. And well, takes what she
What is
can.
that kind of life, no?
Yeah.
And from time to time she would come and say, look, I will get my payment next week, could you lend me 10 euros? And we always do, and it's quite clear the 10 euros will not come back. Because we say, no, okay, we'll take the 10 euros, no?
Yeah.
So that's something you can do because the person is not begging. No, also a beggar on the street we would give money, no? But that person is doing something.
What she can.
Like in Turkey, for example, there's people standing there with an open package of cigarettes, and they sell you one cigarette.
Yes.
No, and people buy that just to say, look, this person has not to beg. The person is still doing a job, or they sell you the coins for the ship, and they're a little bit more expensive. You could go to the counter or buy them there. No. Everyone would buy to that person.
To support.
Just to support the person and not to oblige them to beg. No. And these are tiny little things you can do. No, don't close like this rock and roll song which says, could you open up your heart and then close the door? So if you close the door, be aware that your heart is not open.
Yeah.
No, don't pretend. No.
It happens, right? When we walk through the city or anywhere and we see people begging or maybe doing something, selling something, but it's quite clear that they're beggars. You know, our conscious mind might go to, oh, but what will they do with the money? Buy drugs, buy alcohol, something or the other. But really, that is not our business.
That's not your job.
If that is what they need to...
Feel that this creator is standing in front of you and telling you, could you lend a hand?
Giving an opportunity to help.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. If they're after buy heroin, well, that's your business and the creator's business. If he wants to change it, or she or it or they or whatever they are, they can do that. If they don't want, for some reason they don't want, but they give you an opportunity to obey to what you should do and to feel more like a real human being. Help your companions in the way you can. If you have no money with you or whatever, give a smile, stop a moment, talk a moment to them,
maybe hold their
make
hand.
them feel comfortable one moment, because you could be sitting there. You have no idea why you grew up in a place and a family that were in better conditions. No,
right.
you didn't do anything for that. It just happened.
Yeah.
And it just happened to them. So become aware that you are part of the human family. No, there's a saying which said, if you only could save one soul, it is as if you would have saved all the souls of all humanity. So do your job, do something, but do it. Don't go into thinking, oh, what could they do with that? Or no, that's not your business. Okay?
And on that note, go give some money to someone.
Huh? What you say?
Said go give some money to someone. Well, be nice, be
nice.
Be human, be helpful, be kind.
Be nice. You remember the butcher? No, we go and I gave her the first time we went there. I gave her a book. Maybe she never read the book. She never said something. And then one day I asked her, "You like chocolate?" And, yes, I like chocolate. So now every time we go there, we bring some chocolate to her. And one day I went alone and she said, "Look, don't do that because I feel uncomfortable." And I said, "No, I will tell you why I do that. Because I saw that you are a good person. And I just want to encourage you, and I just want to, you give something to people and I give something to you, but it's coming from the same source, that giving." And she said to me, "Yeah, you have seen these two beggars sitting in front of the supermarket here, an old guy and a young guy. And every day I go and give them a piece of meat that they don't go home without having something to eat." I said, "Yeah, you see?" And I see that, and that's why I bring you the chocolate.
Yeah.
Just if that idea comes to your mind, I mean, maybe it's stupid, the idea to give a piece of chocolate to that butcher lady. I mean, I go there to buy the meat and that's it, no? No, but the idea comes and you do, and then later it turns out, yeah, she's one of these people helping other people. No?
And that is how you end up building relationships, right?
No, it's starting alone again, because we are talking about the right thing, about being friendly and kind and helping other people.
Yes.
So there are things that, okay, I help you.
And we are very grateful for her, not only for being a good person and helping others, but also because she always prepares a bag of bones.
For us, it's
For our
always
dogs.
friendly. She's not working alone, and there are sometimes many people, and the whole shop is absolutely in order and clean, and she's always friendly to everyone. So that's something you observe, and then you say, well, if I can do something, I will do that.
Yes.
Okay?
So now you go and do something.
We go?
Yes, we go for now.
Goodbye.
Until next week.